The next major controversy in Star Citizen is almost here: instancing. We've known it was coming since CitizenCon 2025, but now that 4.10 in August is getting closer, the arguments are getting heated. I don't think instancing killed the single shard dream, but I think it exposed a problem that was always there. The math just never worked. In fact, I think some of us have known that for a long time. The Siege of Orison is coming back as an instanced mission with up to 4 players, everyone in their own private sessions, and half the community is treating it like a funeral or a betrayal. I get the reaction, but I just want to walk through why I think this was inevitable and why the thing that we're mourning never existed in the first place. Before we jump in, this video is sponsored by my own shop, Intrepidon Studios. At Intrepidon Studios, we build custom Mandalorian and Star Wars armor using state-of-the-art 3D printing to 501st and Mando Merc standards. If you've had a custom Star Wars costume kit in your head for years, we'll make it real. Links below, thanks for supporting me in the channel. Start with the dream of Star Citizen. One universe with everyone in it. There's no loading screens between you and any of the other players in the game. And credit where it's due, the server meshing CIG built to chase that dream is working. Player counts per shard have increased from 50 in the beginning to 700 today. Dynamic server meshing might even deliver a true single shard someday. I'm not writing that off just yet. But follow me here. Say it works perfectly. Say the tech puts 10,000 players in one shard tomorrow. You still haven't solved the actual problem, because the server tech was never the problem here. That's the real elephant in the room. If you think about it, you already know the problem because you lived it. You live it today too. Think back to the resource drive. Everyone's hauling cargo, everyone's converging on the same orbital stations to drop off and turn in their missions. You could be waiting 10 minutes or more for a hangar. 10 minutes sitting idle in a spaceship with nothing to do is an absolute recipe for disaster from an engagement perspective. Star Citizen has a lot of bugs, but that wasn't a bug. That's the reality of the number of players the world can handle. The stations were built for a server's worth of players where most people would naturally be scattered around the verse. The moment one event pulled everyone together, the world breaks. The thumbnail from this video shows a 500-person meetup with the org TTO in Orison. I can't even get them all in the frame. I stopped counting after 100 in the screenshot, and you can see there's probably less than 200 characters in that space, but there's still no room. Now scale that up. With dynamic server meshing, it might be possible to have those 10,000 people, maybe more. And players are always going to go where the action is. You really can't control that. Even if CIG multiplied the landing pads, what then? Every location in the game has to become 100 times bigger? Maybe 500 times bigger? Maybe more? Every city, every space station, every little outpost rebuilt around the possibility that thousands of people could show up at once. But Star Citizen is a billion-dollar game after all. Genesis Planet Tech is coming. Every planet is going to be rebuilt eventually. It's not unreasonable to think bigger cities and more landing pads are exactly what $1 billion should buy. But the problem is, space isn't the constraint. Star Citizen has all the space in the world for expansion. Design is the real problem. A landing zone built for 5,000 concurrent players won't be as simple as just widening the alleyways in Area 18 and calling it a day. We can't forget that everything that we have was level designed and built around the 50-player servers that we started with. We can easily make the locations buckle now. Transit's not really even able to handle it, nor the shops or even the mission givers, all of it. It's not as simple as adding more landing pads. We're talking about redesigning almost every handcrafted location in this game. And let's say for a second that they did that. Say every POI gets the mega scale treatment that makes instancing mostly unnecessary. Well then congratulations, you've built a universe where you are never, ever alone. There's a finite number of places where meaningful gameplay happens, and in a full shard, every single one of them is busy 24 hours every day. Every bunker, station, mission location, that works in World of Warcraft because the crowd is the content. Ironforge being packed with players was part of the fantasy. How getting less than 1 frame per second back in 2004 is nostalgia for some of us. I mean, I was there. But Star Citizen also sells the opposite fantasy. It's the Star Trek style story where you're the only ship in the sector that can respond. You're out there with your ship alone in the deep black, and if you want to spend an hour without seeing another player, you can, at least right now. That's part of what makes space feel enormous. That's part of what makes Star Citizen feel like Star Citizen. The romance of this game is solitude. A single shard with no instancing kills that solitude in its tracks. It's the fantasy those other games get right. Every time I see somebody say, just play No Man's Sky or just play Elite Dangerous, I understand where they're coming from. Those games absolutely nail the Star Trek fantasy. You can disappear into the black for hours and really feel alone. Because you are. What they don't have is the other half of Star Citizen, civilization, a living world with thousands of other players that exists when you want it and disappears when you don't. That's the impossible balancing act Star Citizen signed up for. It's not trying to build a single-player space sim. That's been done, and it's been done very well. It's not trying to build World of Warcraft in space either. It's trying to be both of them at the same time. And when I think about that, I really don't mind instancing anymore. In fact, at the risk of losing half the audience right here, let's get philosophical for a second. I love the mini-world's interpretation of quantum mechanics, the idea that every possibility branches into its own equally real universe. The possibility that there are infinite parallel universes out there. It's nerd shit, but stick with me, because if that's your starting point, there's a version of the verse where your instance of the Siege of Orison and my instance of the Siege of Orison are different realities that both actually happened. And that doesn't bother me at all. If anything, it feels like one of the most science fiction ideas Star Citizen's ever embraced. And Star Citizen already has. Our hangars are instanced and have been for a while now. You noticed, and nobody held a funeral for the game. It made the game work better. At the end of the day, these are the decisions that you make to increase playability and scale. That's going to continue happening. CIG's not breaking their promises to us. This game is going to keep evolving for playability reasons. Remember Death of a Spaceman? Well, back in 2013, the vision was permanent death. Your character dies, your stuff passes on to an heir, and death has real weight. I loved that document. And watch what a decade of building the game has done to it. Every single time CIG talked about it publicly, they made it a little softer, a little more forgiving. I'll do a full video on this because it really deserves its own discussion. That's because the original concept of Star Citizen was written for dreamers, and the real systems need to satisfy people playing a live game. And those are not going to always be the same thing. Players are going to quit if a server crash wipes out years of progress. Yeah, okay, I'm overselling the penalties a bit, but you get the point. That's what game development is. You start with a vision, and then reality chips away at it. Every single game that you've ever loved lives somewhere in the middle between what they wanted to do and what they could do. Star Citizen's problem is that they spent a decade selling the vision like it was already a reality. CIG's already told us where this is going. Settlements, mission givers, whole locations, all instanced behind clever doors and elevators. They're going to make it so seamless that you never see it happen. And a couple years from now, nobody's going to remember that we had this argument at all. I keep thinking about that 10-minute hangar queue. As I sat there in my cockpit and I stared into space, the single shard dream and the actual game were sitting right in front of me. I just didn't realize which one I was looking at. That queue helped wake me up to the reality of what this game will be. CIG's choosing the game over the dream now. Well, man, it took them long enough. I'll see you in the verse.